Hey guys, sorry I am late. I am running a little bit behind trying to get notes and such again as usual. Filipino boy, hello. Prepping artist, hello. Triple threat, hello, my dear. Loretta, hello. Can you guys hear me okay? Hopefully. I'm a little discombobulated as usual, but you guys should be used to that by now. Ouch. Hey Jeep girl, can you guys hear me all right? Okay, perfect. All right, you guys. Um, there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about tonight. I'm probably not going to get through everything, and I have pulled up some videos and some articles that I can share with you guys, but I'm not going to read the articles. I'm just going to kind of give you the gist of what's going on. And part of why I wanted to do this live is because we've been so consumed with everything going on here in the United States that we are unaware of things going on outside of the United States. And I think that there's a lot of channels that are already covering things like the derailments and the banking system that just went down and the manufacturing fires and so forth. So there's lots of other channels that are out there talking about that. I'll touch on a couple of points that I think are just ridiculous here in the United States, um, just so that you're aware that some of these things are going on. But I'm not going to go in deep. This is more going to be what's going on around the world. So, hi, Stray Kitten. Hi, DJ. Hi, JD. Hello, Colleen. Welcome, you guys. Welcome. So we know about Silicon Valley's bank going down, and if you want to know more about that, Economic Ninja is a really good person to follow. He is more he's well versed in the financial system. Um, I just My advice to you is make sure you have money on hand and be aware that that could be the start of a domino effect. Um, if you can pay off your debts as much as possible right now, and just keep money stored away. Pull some out of the bank. I'm not saying pull out all of it out of the bank, but pull some out of the bank so you have some at home in case you can't access your money. The one thing I do know about the Silicon Valley Bank closing is they were insured for $150 billion. They went under with $210 billion. So $60 billion is gone out of the people's money that was banking there. And I don't know who they're going to or how they're going to go about picking and choosing who they're going to take that money from. But that is a huge chunk of money that was literally there 2 days ago. And now the people are not going to be able to access it at all. And the insured money that what is it, the FDIC insured, I don't know how long it's going to take for that to process for those people to get their money. um, a lot of people's rent and mortgages are due around the first, anywhere between the first and the 15th. So this is going to cause a huge financial problem for those people that can't draw out their rent, can't draw out their mortgages or their car payments and so forth. It's all due in the first half of the month. Um, I've never seen anything like this, so I really don't know how long it's going to take for those people to um, get their money. But so let's talk about some of the things that's going on around the world. We know about California's weather, and I'll talk on that just a little bit more later. But there's also massive floods in Brazil. And I don't know if you all saw this or if you knew about Brazil's parade. Has anyone heard or seen any bits about the parade that Brazil just did? I want to say it was a 3 day or a 4 day parade. And if I can pull up this video, I'm going to share this video with you guys, and I'm going to shut the sound off because it is somebody else's video. Um, okay, so can everyone see this okay, hopefully? Um, Muted. So this parade right here, can I make it bigger? Um, so it was a 3 or 4 day parade, and this parade was supposed to be to glorify God. Okay, this was supposed to bring all glory and all praise to God. But um, if you kind of see the stuff that's going on, some of the floats and stuff they have, you'll see they have huge floats of Satan and demons, and they're walking around like demons, and really just mocking God. Let me see if I can find. Um, it was a part that was just very disturbing to me. And of course, am I going to be able to find it? Of course not. Okay, so after they did this parade, and I'm going to find another video to show you some of these other ones. Um, they had they had a massive rain and a massive flood. And let me see if I can find a better image for you guys of the floats that I'm talking about. Give me one second. My computer's having a hard time loading because I've got so many windows open to share with you guys. All right, so let me share the screen so you can get the gist of um, the parade I want to show you the parts of. All right, so these are the kind of things that this particular parade had that was glorifying God. Okay, I don't see any part of this parade glorifying God at all. The entire probably 3/4 of the parade was skits like this, scenes like this, and, floats like this, and it was a very long parade, and so 1 or 2 days after this parade, massive floods came to this particular area where they did the parade, and, um, yeah, t tell me how this is glorifying God at all. Um, but there are thousands of people right now that are without, um, homes because they're flooded. That area just has pretty much gone, underwater, and I don't know, I kinda wonder if it was God's way of telling them that this wasn't the correct way to, bring glory to him by any means. But let me stop sharing that one and try to show you some of the destruction, um, has happened here. Nope, that's not it. My video switched. Okay, well, anyways, just if you guys can look it up for yourself, you'll be able to see that this area just got totally flooded, and they don't know when the water is going to um, go back down. There's already thousands dead. Um, I don't even know what the parade is called. Okay, and then we have um, in Malaysia. Malaysia's had. We all know that there's tons of crazy weather stuff going on, and Malaysia also just had massive flooding, um, where these homes are just completely they weren't prepared for this, at all. There's now 41,000, the last time I checked, 41,000 people that are displaced, and there's lots and lots of people that
Dulu
are
tu air dah
actually
mula
still
masuk lah.
missing that they're looking
Sampai
for.
ke paras pinggang dia dalam rumah. Jadi saya sempat lah.
So it's not just
Mula
in
saya pun tak sangka
California,
air boleh melimpah
this
begitu
kind of
cepat kan.
crazy stuff
Saya tengok
is
dulu air. Saya
going
sekarang
on
makin naik,
all
makin
over
naik.
the world.
Saya pun pindahkan barang mana sempat
We've
lah.
got the Malaysia floods,
TV,
we've got the
Xbox,
Brazilian
semua ikut
floods,
lari. Kilap, panggil semua lari
we
lah.
have um, same kind of stuff is going on in Indonesia. They just had massive rains that caused a huge, huge mudslide, and I think it's 22 people? Yeah, there's 22 people still missing, 32 people that they found dead already, and these houses, they're still searching for people, they're still thinking that people are stuck in their houses. The problem is this mudslide has buried these houses under 13 feet of mud. So it's gonna take them a long time to get down there and help these people, and as long as it keeps raining, it's gonna make it harder for them to dig these houses out and rescue people. Not to mention in Turkey, they're still, digging up bodies there, unfortunately, because there's just so much destruction there. So a lot of us don't even realize that, we're so consumed with, like, California, and California is terrible too. Um, California wasn't prepared for the snowstorm that they got at all by any means. Yes, Colleen, also disease is gonna start popping up. But California got dumped, a ton of snow. I think it said in the Sierra Mountains there was 48 feet of snow the last time I checked, and they were expecting another 5 feet at the top of the Sierra Mountains, and California just doesn't get snow like that. So, um, not only do they get stuck in their houses, but their grid system isn't able to, handle that. They're not gonna have the amount of food they need to stay in their homes for long periods. But then if that wasn't enough for them from that, even some people's roofs, like, collapse from the weight of snow. If you've ever been in a snowstorm or snow blizzard, you know that that snow becomes very, very heavy, and houses in California aren't built for that. So a lot of roofs collapsed in, and then right after the snow melted, they had what they called a atmospheric river go through or coming through now where it just dropped tons and tons of rain on top of the snow that's already down there on top of the houses, so it's more weight on top of the roofs of these houses, more destruction. Um, their structures just aren't they're not built to handle that kind of weight that the snow and the water combined creates. So they went from doing rescuers went from doing snow rescues, to try to get to people that were stuck on the roads, on the side of the road. Their car broke down or that got snowed in houses and they couldn't get out, they were gonna freeze to death, to turning around and having to do a flood rescue. So they literally packed all the snow stuff up, and then a couple days later, they had to pull out the boats to try to get to, places in California that there was rivers going down the street. Um, and I think the last time they said that they had a storm like this, it's been like 10 years or something. Um, and then you've got Switzerland, who is pretty much the capital of the world, had to bring in snow this year because they broke record highs, high temps, so they didn't have any snow. So they had to bring snow in to keep tourists, coming to go skiing because they just didn't have the snow this year. Italy also is having their first, drought in years. Italy is a nice, humid place, and they're having massive droughts. And as I read all these different articles on these weather events, um oh, I'm sorry. I close some of these windows to see if it will help. In one second. Alright, is that better, Jeep Girl? Can you guys still hear me okay, or am I still cutting in and out? Alright, hopefully you guys can hear me. I closed a few windows. Okay. Thank you, Triple Threat. Alright, so, what I noticed in all these different articles with all the rain and the droughts and the snow and everything like that, at the end of almost every article that I read, they were blaming it on climate change. Every single article I read was blaming it on climate change. So they're still pushing this whole climate change agenda. Now, is there going to be climate change? Yes, of course there is, because as the poles shift or move, it's going to adjust the temperatures based on where the poles are. So there's going to always be some sort of climate change, but not to the extent of how they're blaming it. And we just need to be aware that it's not just the US getting hit with all of this, and I know that they can control the weather, but sometimes I think that, really it's just pissed off at some of the stuff that's going on around the world, and you can agree with me or not, but nothing's gonna happen without God allowing it to happen. So, if you have a 3-day period where you're, you know, mocking God, I think he's not gonna be okay with that, personally. Let me see. I worry about too with California snow and, rain following is they are patiently waiting for the fault to give way. It's already been shifting a little bit, but, it's kinda like an ice cube, guys. When the water freezes, it expands, and when it melts, it shrinks back down. So, are they gonna have this massive earthquake once the, um oh, why is it doing that? Can you hear me? Is that better? I played with the wires a little bit. Hopefully it's back. I look like I'm frozen. Okay. All right. I must have unplugged something or shifted something. All right. Um, I'm also not going to talk much about Ukraine and Russia. If you are Ukraine or Russia news, I urge you to follow New York Prepper. He follows up on it very closely and gives updates throughout the day, numerous times a day. So he's much more knowledgeable in that area. The only thing I do know is that they just did a massive drone attack in Bakhmut recently, and, there's a lot of buildings there that are destroyed. Let's see. Um, did you guys know, recently they just unanimously elected Xi Jinping in as China's leader for a 3rd term? Unanimously. Every single person voted for him to become the leader of China. Could you imagine being that one person that, voted against him? I thought that was pretty amazing, and for them to put that out in the news of, like, a celebration of them unanimously voting him back in, I thought that was great. Then you have New York is starting to cry out that the e-bike fires are an epidemic, as well as, um, now they're also saying that rats in New York are carrying COVID-19. And they're afraid that the rats are going to give it to the people. So they're still pushing this COVID-19 thing, not to mention the bird flu, which if you guys don't know, or haven't heard, Biden is considering vaccinating all the chickens in the United States because of bird flu. And then in the Netherlands, I guess bird flu supposedly jumped to the sea lions, and now there are thousands of sea lions washing up on the shores, from bird flu. Do you guys remember too, they keep pushing these e-bikes and these lithium batteries, and they're saying it's an epidemic, but you know how you always get those little warning labels on things like your hair dryers, where the warning labels came up and says, "Don't use this while you're in the bathtub or in the shower." little label. Well, I know those e-bikes say that you are not supposed to charge them, like, in your home. So a lot of these fires that are happening are people, bringing them into their houses and charging them. But if you go back to when, like, the e-cigs first came out, do you remember when the e-cigs were blowing up in people's pockets because the lithium batteries were overheating? And then you had the hoverboards. The hoverboard batteries, when they were charging, they were exploding. Well, it's the same thing. If you took um, a larger battery, a lithium battery, and you actually cut it open and looked inside of those larger lithium batteries that are for bikes and, like, the cars, they're actually the little normal size, 18650 batteries, numerous ones that size that are packaged together to give that higher so, if they don't have it wired up right, or if they're not standing close to it, it is going to overheat, it is going to explode. I'm actually kinda surprised that we haven't seen, um, the Tesla's batteries exploding because it's the same thing. If you leave it charged unattended, things could happen. It's like with any Yes, they're still trying to push those vaccinations. I'm reading your guys's, things. Okay. So, also, Athens, Greece. Athens, Greece just had a train crash. I didn't know if you know that either. They just had 57 people were killed because a passenger train crashed into a freight train. Um, they hit head on, and 57, like, most of them were college student age, 57 of them were killed, and their government came out and said that it was human error, but there are massive, massive protests going on in Greece right now, because they want to increase the security regulations of trains. So I can't imagine that just this one crash would cause them to have an uproar, so I would think that this has happened more than once over there, but this is the most recent one I found where, they blamed it on human error and, it caused, thousands of people to start protesting. There's also massive protests um, in Palestine, not Ohio, but actually overseas, and that was because, 6 Palestinians were killed by, some Israel officials, and so the Palestinians started, protesting, and, the reason why Israel is saying to kill these people is because basically they're calling it a tit for tat. So Israel's people were killed by some Palestinians turned around and killed some Israelis, and now Israel is saying because Palestine killed some of their people that they're calling it an act of war, which I thought was funny that they said that because, China just said that to us when we shot down the balloon. They said they consider that an act of war. So this seems to be something that, these different countries are gonna start throwing around to, start getting into these different wars. You have, France. France is actually have over 1,000,000 people attended a protest. This just happened, you guys, over 1,000,000 people, protesting in France because they are raising um, the retirement age from 62 to 64. So, the residents of France are mad, and they gathered together, and there was over 1,000,000 people that actually attended, this protest. And if you can look that up, check out those videos. It was just so many people in the streets. It was incredible to see how far the river of people went down the streets. Then you have in Syria, Syria's airport in Aleppo, Israel just struck their airport. I don't know if you know this either, but the Syrian airport is no longer able to be used. They have messed up the runway, they've messed up the airport, and, Syria is trying to say that, um, Israel did it because this was a hub um, for aid to Turkey, but Israel is coming back and saying, "No, that's not true. We did it because we found out that Iran is actually smuggling weapons through there, and we're not gonna have it. We're not gonna have Iran, smuggle any weapons because they've been threatening Israel, and they're not going to take the chance of Iran getting any of these weapons. A lot of people don't realize this, but Israel and Iran are about to go to war as well. Um, then another thing that I found is the subject for me, the Woman of Courage Award. I don't know if you guys saw this. The Woman of Courage Award was just presented biological male transgender. Um, we were already upset about transgenders being allowed in the women's powerlifting and in the women's basketball and in the women's swimming um, because it's not fair. There's a difference in how bodies are made. But now they've just given the Woman of Courage Award to a biological male. Um, people are I'm looking at my notes. Um, you see a lot of unrest around the world too about people fighting back against these drag shows, having them go into schools and having them do things around the children that they shouldn't be doing. And my thought on this is whether you are transgender or not, no adult should be dressing, twerking, strip teasing any child at all. I don't care if you are gay, lesbian, or straight. This should not be happening around children. And it's been happening, not just here. I know the US, we hear a lot about it in the US, but this is actually happening in other countries as well. Um, if any of you know who Chaplain Russell is or Reverend Bernard Randall, if you guys have heard that name, you probably haven't, 'cause all of our news is United States based. Um, Chaplain Russell was a chaplain with the Church of England. He was suspended and labeled as a terrorist by the church, and then later fired because he preached about the biblical views of gender identity and same-sex relationships. Um, it wasn't long after Reverend Bernard Randall was terminated for similar reasons. So the Church of England, if you all don't know, is their state church. So it's basically the main church above all the churches uh, in England. Um, it's almost if it's almost equivalent to like the Vatican over the Catholic churches. You've got one main primary church over all these little churches. So the Church of England is basically the churches over all the smaller churches in England. Is my sound still messing up? Strike it, and I'm sorry if it's not coming through good for you. Hopefully you can rewatch or maybe go out and come back in. I try to hold on. Is that any better? All right, let me keep going. Um, so both this reverend and this chaplain both got terminated and labeled as terrorists um, because they were pushing back against the awesome. I just unplugged it and replugged it um, in. So they were pushing back against the agenda of pushing this gender neutral and uh, the pronoun things and the LGBTQ. I hope I got those right. Um, against the children, and they were saying, no, that's not what we're going to do. This is a religious school, and we're going to teach out of the Bible. So they pushed back, and because they pushed back, they got fired and got labeled as terrorists. And then also within the Church of England, they're starting to introduce children with the gender identity ideology at 4 years old. The Church of England school has what's called a World Book Day, I believe, and 4-year-olds are being introduced to a book that is titled My Shadow is Pink. And it's literally all about this little boy, this young boy at, 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old, that thinks because he likes to play with dolls and play dress up that he must be a girl. And that really bothered me. But these parents are pulling their kids out of school because of this book, which I think is great. I think every parent should not go out and make war, but still stand your ground, especially if you're raising children to have Christian values. Stand your ground. If you don't agree with what your children are being taught, then speak up or pull your children out. Um, don't let them be confused. Children's minds are so easily molded and confused at that age that you've got to make sure that what you're teaching them stays with them and doesn't get confused in the schools. You have schools now that are asking children what their pronouns are and not telling the parents and telling the children they don't have to tell the parents either. So they're starting to keep these secrets from parents as young as, first grade and second grade. No first grade or second grade, hi fed up, no first grade or second grader child even knows what they want for lunch, let alone, what the difference is of being male or female. But they're starting to hide this from the children, and they're starting to fire teachers here in the United States, and they're starting to fire chaplains and reverends in other countries because they're pushing back on this agenda. Hi, Michael. Hi, ETP. And then, does anybody know who? Let me find it. Isabel von Spruce is. This is another one that really got me. Isabel von Spruce. Thank you, Fed Up, very much. You don't have to do that, though. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. Isabel von Spruce. I don't know if the name sounds familiar to you guys or not, but if in the UK, this woman in the UK, she is an activist for pro-life. Okay, this woman got arrested on December 4th, for standing in front of a clinic and silently praying. She wasn't yelling. She wasn't holding signs. She wasn't harassing people. She was literally had her head bowed and she was silently praying, and she got arrested for this. So on December 4th, she got arrested. December 14th, she got charged. And then about 3 weeks ago, they dropped the charges and said, that they couldn't arrest someone for this because she wasn't actually doing anything. But when she was waiting for the charges to for her to try to appeal the charges. I'm losing my words here. When she was waiting for the appeal on the charges, she was told that while she was waiting, she was no longer allowed to attend any public gatherings where there was prayer. Those were her stipulations to not be in violation of basically her probation, was that she was not allowed to go in any public gatherings where there was prayer, because she was in trouble for silently praying outside of a clinic. So those charges got dropped. She went back out just recently, I want to say March 4th. March 4th, she went to another clinic that was closed on this particular day. There was nobody there. She was out there sitting against a wall across the street, head down, and she was praying, and somebody took a picture of her. They went and brought her into the police department and asked her what she was doing in that picture. And she said, well, I was either thinking or I was praying. And they told her, well, you said you were praying, you were under arrest again. And they arrested her a second time for praying silently. The second time, the place wasn't even open. There wasn't even anyone there. Somebody just happened to take a picture of her standing across the street and praying for the people that would go into this clinic. So you're not even allowed to pray silently. This is like a huge war. A lot of these things I feel are a huge war on Christians. And if you do read the Bible and you do follow the Bible, you do know that that is part of the end times where Christians are going to be attacked, where people are going to be arrested, people are going to be mocked, people are going to be abused and killed for being Christians. This woman, for praying silently, was arrested. Then in China just made it to where you have to register on your phone in order to be able to attend church. So then when you register on your phone and you attend church, they track you to that church and they raid the church. So this had just recently happened, and the Chinese police, I don't know what they're called there, but Chinese police, basically, they tracked someone who had registered on their phone to be able to attend church, and they went in and they arrested the preacher for preaching Christian values, for preaching out of the Bible. They arrested him. So they're using this technology of, telling people, yeah, you can go to church. You just have to, basically get a permit from the government to be able to go to church. And then they're going into these churches and they're shutting them down, and they're arresting these preachers and the pastors and the people that are, teaching Christianity, that are teaching about God, that are teaching about Jesus. They're arresting them. And they're just south of China is a town called I don't want to butcher it. Give me 1 second. Myanmar. Just south of China is a town called Myanmar. It's also known as Burma, a military junta which holds government control for 2 years now in that country, or in that area. They just recently raided this village because they found out that they were a Christian village, and they beheaded 17 villagers, raped multiple women, and arrested the Baptist pastor for preaching God in the church in that village. Okay. Thank you, Naughty. So this is a lot of the stuff that's going on. It's a war against Christians. It's good against evil. It's Satan running amok, because he knows his time is running out. And then we have in the end times, I know a lot of channels talk about wars and rumors of wars, but there's so much more to that. It's also the false prophets and the false teachers. It's the Christians being persecuted and mocked. It's the pestilence and the famines. I mean, it's so much more. The earthquakes, the floods, everything that's going on now, plus worse. And when we go into the false teachings, Hillsong, who knows who Hillsong is? If you have heard of Hillsong Church, put a 1 in the comments, because they are all over the place. And they have some pretty good songs, but if you listen to actual words of their songs, it kind of mixes things up. And I used to watch Hillsong, but I started realizing that some of their teachings were new agey. So Hillsong, many of their leaders in Hillsong just got arrested. A whole big group of them just got arrested for money laundering, tax evasion, and I guess there was some unethical spending habits. So a huge handful of their leaders just got arrested. And this church, Hillsong, has such a huge influence across the world that it's kind of scary that they were out there teaching, but they were doing all this dark stuff behind the scenes, just to make this money, which it's evil. It's super evil. Ashbury Revival. I know you all saw Ashbury Revival in there, and there was some mixed views on Ashbury. A lot of people thought it was a great revival, and a lot of people thought that it was evil. And I actually had a conversation with one of my sisters that, we were discussing that, about the difference in opinion on Ashbury, if it really was a revival or not. So my opinion is the revival was within the person or within the people. You had people from all over the world um, travel to go to this revival to be a part of this amazing spiritual moment to get closer to God. Did they have to go to Ashbury in order to get closer to God? No, they didn't. But did it hurt them at all to go to get closer to God? It didn't hurt them at all. And there may have actually been some people. I know that I don't know much about Ashbury, but I know a lot of people were saying that um, they have some new agey and they support the LBTGQ community, and so people thought it was evil. However, how many stories in the Bible did God send His disciples or His believers into evil areas to help save others that were stuck in there? I imagine that if there was really bad things going on in that church, that God would have had some of His people there to help um, you know, guide the others that came so that they wouldn't get on the wrong path. There are people that went there that got revived, that did turn over their lives to Jesus, that did, get filled with the Holy Spirit, and that is amazing. It doesn't just because the a few people in the church might have been evil, it doesn't mean that everybody that showed up is evil. It was a place where God put people to have a purpose. God put people there for His will. So, don't look down on them because there are people that actually had a revival. They're going to change their lives. They're going to start standing up for Jesus and for Christianity in general. You can't judge these people that showed up from across the world based on a few of the leaders within the church. Same thing with Hillsong. You can't judge all of the people that attended Hillsong because of those few leaders that used it for evil. Um, that would be like if everyone judged America based on what they thought about our fearless leader. I would hope that I'm never judged based on our fearless leader. Same thing with there's a big war right now, also in a lot of the different articles against Catholics, and it's where everyone is judging all of the Catholics based on decisions that the current or past popes have made, or things that may or may not be at the Vatican. All the Catholics are being put into one group, and it shouldn't be. They're not all the same. Just because you have one or two bad apples, it does not mean that everybody in that religion is bad. Take the time to have a conversation and discuss religion with them and understand, each other. Don't fight with each other. Don't judge each other just because you're labeled as, going to this church or going to that church. Love each other, talk to each other, understand each other. That's really what it's about. Um, you have the Abrahamic family house just got completed. Does anyone has anyone heard of that? The Abrahamic family house is in Abu Dhabi. They've been building it for over a year now, and it is within a compound. It is a mosque, a synagogue, and a Catholic church. And these three churches um, are supposed to represent all of the world religions. So they're taking these three churches, um, and they're basically putting it into one world religion. All these are to represent one world religion where everyone um, their motto is for these religions to coexist. Uh, the only time I've ever heard of coexisting is when you get into New Age thoughts or when you get into, what's it called? Evolution. That's when I've heard coexist used numerous times. And this is in their motto about how the religions need to coexist. And the reason why they chose a Catholic church is the Catholic Church is the umbrella for all religions. So the Catholic Church is supposed to represent the Pentecostals, the Mormons, the Jehovah's Witness, the Baptists, the non-denominationals. That's what the Catholic Church there is supposed to represent. All religions across the world that are of Christian values. Then you've got the mosque and the synagogue, and in this, in the middle of these churches and the mosque and the synagogue is a river that they have named basically the river of life. It is supposed to be the river of life. To me, it is. They're making a mockery of what heaven is supposed to be like. You're supposed to have the river of life going down, heaven's golden roads. If you read your Bible, it tells you all about it. And it sounds like they tried to take heaven and recreate it. And now they're going to try to convince people to be a part of this one world religion and fall into one of these three categories. I'm curious to see who is going to be in charge of this one world religion. And I'm missing comments, but I did see, Lewis, I did see your comment pop by about it just being to destroy God. If you look back on everything that has happened, and this is, going back to being a way to destroy Christians, destroy God. I think a lot of these things that are happening are a way to destroy people from putting their faith in God and ushering in the Antichrist. I really do, because with all these terrible things going on, people are going to they're going to get sick, they're going to be starving, they're going to be losing their homes, there's going to be all these wars, and people, when they're going through this, they're going to stop believing and putting their faith in God, and they're going to start turning to somebody else that they're going to want to have save them, someone who brings all of the different countries together and cries peace. That's going to come in and the war is going to stop. That's going to come in and say, oh yeah, we'll give you food, don't worry, we'll provide. You're going to have this universal basic income, we're going to have this digital currency, so you don't have to worry about losing it. You can just, we'll put your money in there right away. And people are going to start turning to this as the savior, the one that took care of them, that provided for them. And that's going to stop a lot of people from turning towards God. They're going to start turning more and more to man. When people start getting sick and dying, when we have terrible mass shootings, or like at the parades where we had a run there where people were running over children in the parade, there were a lot of comments of what kind of God would let this happen. So that turning away from God has already started. They've already been taken out of schools. They've already been churches have been corrupt. Churches haven't been teaching biblical views. They've started making their own rules and their own views, and started becoming very, and I'm not putting all churches, not all churches are like this, but a lot of them have started becoming very judgmental. And, oh, I am better than you, I'm the perfect Christian. Nobody is perfect by any means. No one is even meant to be perfect. And if they say they're perfect, they're flat out lying to you, which makes them even more not perfect. You have, I think it's in Colorado, they didn't allow for a after school program for Christians, but they just approved an after school program for Satanists. Like, that's okay. You can't have the Bible in the library and you can't have an after school program for Christians, but we're going to approve you having an after school program for Satanists. They just approved this. So they're going to start up a after school program for Satanists. They're taking the children and they are doing their best to try to corrupt their minds at a young age and get them away from the values. They're trying to keep people fighting and trying to direct people's attention to different groups to, kick up those hate crimes and get people fighting to the point where they're going to want help out of the situation that they themselves are causing, because they're believing and feeding into all this hate that's going on in the world and all this division and distractions and so forth. So you have to just be very, very mindful, on what you're listening to, what you're seeing. Know that, it's not just the United States that all this stuff is happening to. It is stuff across the world. We're not the victims. The entire human race are victims, no matter what, race you're in, where you live, what country you're from. You've got the war there, Ukraine and Russia. Um, all of those people that are there, stuck there in the middle, are victims. Um, it's the leadership that is trying to, push this war. Wars make money. Wars have been notorious for making money, and then the chemical spills, they're going to make people sick. So guess what? Once those people get sick, they're going to need these cancer treatments, these thyroid medications, these diabetes medications, heart medications. It's a moneymaker. They're doing everything they can to make people sick, make money off of them, and become the most powerful of the world. They want to rule the world and get rid of God, who ultimately is, the creator. He created everything. And that's pretty much all I wanted to bring to you guys. Oh, I do want you to be aware too that China um, has been dumping all of the U.S. treasuries, everything that's U.S. treasuries, and they have been buying up tons and tons of gold. I think the last I saw, they had like 7,000 tons worth of gold that they've bought up. Oh, another thing too, I wanted to let you guys know, and this was, I meant to bring this up when I was talking about the woman that got arrested for praying, was the WEF is now backing what they call mind reading technology. So there's a company called NextSense that are creating earbuds that people can wear so that others can read your mind, or so that they can recreate imagery. So whatever you're thinking, say you saw something, you're in a terrible traumatic thing and you saw it, but because you're in shock, you don't remember it. They're trying to create a technology where they can connect it to your brain, and they can recreate that imagery so they can see exactly what you saw that you don't remember that you saw. And a lot of people think this is great. I don't think it's great at all. I think it very much could be used um, against people. Very much could be used to get rid of people, or hurt people that they want out of the picture, like, I don't know, Christians. But anyways, do we have any questions, guys? I know that was a whole lot to absorb. If you have any questions, by all means ask. My voice is a little scratchy now because it was a whole lot of talking. Yeah, JD, exactly. Because they were doing that Neuralink. They were planning on getting rid of the Neuralink, and now they are pushing for the autonomous weapons, which I'm sure you guys have seen videos on that, but they actually already exist. They already exist. And I meant to talk about that too, but I forgot where I had it. But there are countries that they already have these autonomous military weapons, not just drones, but the Netherlands was actually the very first country to have a autonomous ground-based weapon. And of course, I can't find those notes, but right now, China, the US, and I want to say Australia is investing in autonomous weaponry, military weaponry. It's basically a race. We had the race to the moon, but now they're racing to see who can get to that equipment first. But there are like 3 countries that have actually already used this technology, and they're saying that, oh, it's just for experimental purposes. But I don't agree. Not when we're on the verge of world war. If you have an iRobot with a machine gun attached to it coming at you, what are you going to do? We're prepared to fight marauders that may try to break into our house, but how are you going to stop a fully steel 200-pound machine that's breaking in your door? These are real possibilities. These are things that they're already working on. Sorry, I'm laughing at the extended warranty comment. Okay, so JD, I do believe in the rapture. I am not a pre-trib rapture, though. I am a mid-trib rapture person. I think that we are going to go through tribulations. We are not going to escape those tribulations, and it's going to be a huge test on people's faith. I just hope that people don't give up faith and they keep holding on to the hope and keep asking for grace and mercy from God, because He is the only one that can give it to you. Um, so, let me see. Naughty Heathen, I have a question for you. Do you believe in I saw the comment that you're not going to read a Bible that you don't believe. So I have a question for you. Are you one that believes in the ability to manifest? To manifest whatever you want. If you want a better job, you can manifest it. If you want more money, you can manifest it. If you want a great relationship, you can manifest it. I'm curious, are you one that believes in manifestation? And hopefully they're still in here. As I'm waiting for a reply. Okay, well, I'm still waiting for a reply. I would love to talk about. So, do you believe in manifestation? I'm not familiar with Norse pagan. Do they believe in manifestation? Or does anyone in here not believe in God but believes in manifestation? I have a very serious question for them. And I might not get an answer, but that's okay. Yeah, I guess. Like manifesting your own destiny. So people who want a better job, the people that think that they can just think about it, like the laws of attraction. Same concept, laws of attraction and manifesting to better your life or to make things better in your life. I think I'm a little delayed. I'm not getting these responses as quickly, but that's okay. Y'all will be patient. Okay, that didn't really answer my question though. So you do not believe in manifestation? You do not believe that you can the laws of attraction? Like The Secret, the book The Secret, The Laws of Attraction, which actually was a good read. It just depended on how you looked at it. Yes. I think all preppers do believe in personal responsibility and personal consequences. If things don't go, the way we planned, it's our own fault for not um, planning properly or planning correctly, with things that are within our control, of course. There are certain things that are out of our control that um, we can't fix. Okay, so I'm not going to get an answer. So, anyways, for those of you that have heard of the people that believe in manifesting, I was trying to go somewhere with this, but I'm not getting an answer. The next time someone comes to you and tells you that they don't believe in God, that's fine. I'm not going to force anyone to believe in God. I would never treat anyone differently just because they have different views. I'm still going to love the person. I'm just not going to agree with their actions. I don't have to agree with their actions, but I'm still going to be respectful. But when it comes to people who believe, most of the people that don't believe in God believe in being able to manifest their own future and manifest their own, like better jobs, better houses, more money, better health, whatever. They believe that laws of attraction, if they think it, it will come. So, my question for those people that believe in manifestation and believe in laws of attraction, you do not believe in God, but you personally believe that you can make these things come to you. So why do you not believe that with millions of Christians in the world that God doesn't exist because we believe? You believe you can make more money because you believe it. You created it. So why isn't so many millions of people having a belief? Why doesn't it exist? Our beliefs don't are null and void, but these people who manifest believe that that one person can make a difference. And I'm not saying we've manifested God, but it's kind of a two-sided coin here. You can't believe that you can manifest a job, but yet God couldn't have, existed with a million of people believing in him. Same thing with the Trinity. Anyone who does not believe in the Trinity because they say that the Trinity could not possibly exist, God could not possibly be three in one. I've heard that, and I'm sure some of you have heard that as well. And, my comment is I am a mother, I am a daughter, I am a wife. I have three titles in one, but I am the same person. So if I can have three titles, I actually have more titles than that, but I have those three main titles. Why is it okay for me to have those three titles, but not okay for God to have those three titles? One can exist, but one doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. I appreciate that, Lewis. And I don't mind people coming in here and having a good debate. I actually very much enjoy good debates. Um, But there is sometimes that you have to get to a point where you agree to disagree because um, I'm not going to change their mind and they're not going to change my mind, and that's okay. They are more than welcome to come here and still learn about things going on around the world. Or, if I'm having a stream about medicinal herbs, by all means, I don't care if you're a believer or not. I want you to have this information to better your health in case you are trying to get off of pharmaceuticals or in case you can't afford pharmaceuticals. I'm totally fine with that as long as they're respectful. But I mean, if they're not respectful, then, I've got moderators. They got to go. They got to go. Just keep it respectful. And I'm totally okay with it. I'm totally okay with it. Yes, Michael, the devil is the great deceiver. Okay. No, I'm not saying you have. I'm saying just in general, people in general, if they've come in and said anything that, if they come in and be disrespectful or start calling names or cursing, then that's when my moderators will step in. But if you come in and have a healthy debate with people, I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with it. I actually am pretty sure that you're the same one that you and I just had a healthy debate on one of my shorts, which I actually enjoyed very much discussing. I believe you're the same one if I remember correctly. But I do enjoy having conversations. I do enjoy hearing other people's, points of view and why they uh, believe what they believe, and listen to them. That's a good way to do it instead of hating each other. You shouldn't judge each other just because you have different beliefs. Different beliefs make the world go around. You still want to help each other. We all go back to dust no matter what. We all are made of the same flesh and blood. So, I'm at the 1 hour mark already, you guys. Wow. Um, I don't really have anything else. I didn't see any other questions. I'm sorry if I missed questions. Um, I really want to thank my moderators for being in here, and um, I hope that I was able to give you all some information and things that you weren't aware of, and know that, it's not just the United States. There is crazy stuff going on all over the world, and some, kind of dumb things like, vaccinating all the chickens. Um, but I'm going to keep trying to bring you more news from around the world, you guys, because we're getting so bombarded with everything in the United States, but we're not alone. It's the human race in general. It's all of us going through everything together. We just don't hear about others' problems, and some of people's problems in other countries are way worse than ours. Um, You know, we have clean water, we have food, we have a roof. Our house isn't under 13 feet of mud. Um, you know, even we have medications. We're not disease infested because we can't get clean water and we can't have good hygiene. We're able to get and jump in the shower and, you know, wash all the grit and dirt off of us. We should be thankful for what we have. Um, and just keep taking care of each other and support each other and reach out and have compassion. Keep praying for each other. Um, keep your faith, keep strong. Know that we're in this together, all the way across the world. We're in this together. Everything. We're not alone. And keep pushing. And I believe we're the last generation, so I hope I'm right. Um, anyways, guys, thank you, Fed Up American, for the donation. I absolutely appreciate it. You know that you never ever have to do that. Um, I never asked for it, but I very much appreciate it. And you all stay safe. Keep prepping. Keep praying. Love each other. Take care of each other. And have an amazing and blessed night. Good night, you guys.